Hello everyone. As we all know, Oda Sensei is a history buff and he generally blends multiple historical events into a single narrative. In the anime we have all witnessed the tragic burning of Ohara, and brutal massacre of the Ohara scholars along with Professor Clover. We all felt a distant sadness. But what if I told you that sadness portrayed by Oda, is subconsciously the writer's genetic memory? In the history of India, there is a brutal incident recorded from the past, astonishingly 800 years ago, which happened at Nalanda University. Yes, you heard it right. The exact 800 years ago, which Oda describes as the era of Joy Boy, and the advanced ancient civilization that existed in the One Piece world. This incident from the history of India, was the burning of Nalanda University, and the brutal murder of its scholars. To describe the greatness of Nalanda University, is to describe the pinnacle of a civilization, that was centuries ahead of its time. Founded in the 5th century CE, during the Gupta Empire, Nalanda was not just a school, it was the world's first truly international, residential university. When the university was burnt down around 1193 CE, it wasn't just buildings that were lost, it was a hard drive of human progress that was so dense, it famously burned for 3 to 6 months because of the sheer volume of manuscripts. The manuscripts had vast in-depth sacred knowledge ranging from astronomy, medicine, health sciences, Ayurveda, psychology, mind sciences, mathematics and even war tactics and ancient weapons. And if we trace the Indian history back to Mahabharata and Ramayana, there were war tactics like Chakravyuh, and highly destructive weapons, like Brahmastra, and even the description of Viman, which is an ancient aircraft. Even though they are seen as Indian mythologies, just what if, they are true historic events. We are well aware, once Oda used the attack named Bajran Gun, to defeat Kato in Wano Arc. Nalanda had a campus span 16 square kilometers, featuring 8 sprawling compounds, 10 temples, meditation halls, and man-made lakes to keep the campus cool. Nalanda's library was its heart. It consisted of 3 massive buildings, Ratnasagar, Sea of Jewels, Ratnodati, Ocean of Jewels, and Ratnaranjaka, jewel-adorned. One of the buildings was 9 stories high. It housed millions of manuscripts covering 64 distinct subjects. It was a net-zero economy of its day. Over 100 to 200 villages were dedicated to the university, providing the food and funds needed so that students could study for free. This allowed for a pure pursuit of knowledge without financial barriers. But admission was notoriously difficult. Prospective students were grilled at the gates by dwarpalikas, scholar gatekeepers. Only 2 or 3 out of 10 applicants were accepted, ensuring that only the sharpest minds entered. At a time when much of the world was in the Dark Ages, Nalanda was a beacon of light. It attracted over 10,000 students and 2,000 world-class teachers from Korea, Japan, China, Tibet, Indonesia, Persia, and Greece. Nalanda mastered the mind, the body, the cosmos, language, and logic, not to control the world, but to understand it. Nalanda didn't hide forbidden knowledge. It demanded disciplined minds. And to those unwilling to discipline themselves, wisdom always looks like a threat. There was a Turkic-Afghan invader Bakhtiyar Khalji who led conquests in eastern India, conquering Bihar and Bengal around the early 13th century, becoming the first Muslim governor of Bengal. Once Bakhtiyar Khalji fell severely ill, and none of his own court physicians, Hakams, could cure him. He was eventually advised to seek help from Rahul Sribhadra, the head of the Ayurveda department at Nalanda. Khalji was a proud conqueror and didn't want to admit that an infidel Indian scholar had superior knowledge to his own people. He challenged the scholar to cure him without using any medicine. Rahul Sribhadra cleverly applied medicine to the pages of the Quran that Khalji read daily. As Khalji licked his fingers to turn the pages, the medicine entered his system and he was cured. Instead of gratitude, Khalji was allegedly consumed by jealousy and insecurity. He realized that if an Indian monk possessed such immense knowledge, his own power was intellectually inferior. To uproot this superior knowledge, he decided to destroy the source, the library and the scholars who held the wisdom. You heard correctly, the destruction was not just of buildings, but of the living poneglyphs of that era. Historians record that Khalji ordered the massacre of thousands of monks and scholars. In his eyes, a teacher was more dangerous than a soldier because a teacher could keep a culture spirit alive. The library was so vast, housing roughly 9 million manuscripts, that it burned for months. This was the Great Reset of Indian history, where centuries of advancements in science, math, and philosophy were turned to ash. Think about the psychology of a man who is saved by a doctor and responds by killing the doctor and burning his house. That is the story of Khalji and Nalanda. It wasn't just a war for land, It was a war against the human mind. By killing the scholars, he wasn't just taking lives, he was deleting the save files of a civilization. This is exactly what the world government does in One Piece. They don't just kill the people of Ohara, they try to make sure no one ever learns how they lived. What if our world's poneglyphs weren't made of stone? What if they were made of paper, and we lost them all 800 years ago? This frames the burning of Nalanda as the real-world void century. What about the burden of being the last one who remembers? After the massacre, a few monks fled to Tibet and Nepal with small portions of the texts. They became demons in the eyes of the invaders, hunted for what they knew. This connects to the Joy Boy theory. If India was the ancient kingdom, then the survivors are the reason we still have bits of yoga, Ayurveda, and mathematics today. They are our Nico Robins. Think about this, in One Piece, the world government spent 800 years making sure the name of the ancient kingdom was never spoken. In our world, 800 years ago, Nalanda was erased. Since then, we have been told that ancient people were primitive. But how can they be primitive if they had 9-story libraries and hospitals that cured kings without medicine? We are living in the post-Buster Call world. We are the descendants of a history that was set on fire. Oda isn't just writing a manga, he is writing a warning. He's asking us, will you let the fire win, or will you be like Robin and seek the truth? Hiding behind the shadow of a goofy rubber-stretching anime character, Oda is trying to communicate something important. Comment below, do you think the void century is happening to us right now? If you felt this connection, share this with a fellow Nakama. The truth only lives if we remember it. There will be more such interesting videos coming ahead related to history and mythologies, which we will link with the One Piece and Oda Sensei's writing style. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Please do support us by liking our videos, and subscribing our channel. Until then, the hunt for the truth continues.